If your favorite nature documentary had a drama series, the Nile Basin would be the star. This region, with its breathtaking landscapes and diverse ecosystems, is a living testament to the beauty and complexity of nature. The Nile Basin is not just a geographical area, it's a vibrant, dynamic entity that has been the cradle of civilizations for millennia. From the ancient Egyptians who built their pyramids along its banks to the modern-day farmers who rely on its waters, the Nile has always been a source of life and inspiration. Spanning 11 countries in northeastern Africa, the Nile Basin is a lifeline for millions. It stretches over 3 million square kilometers, encompassing a variety of landscapes from lush wetlands to arid deserts. The river itself is over 6,650 kilometers long, making it the longest river in the world. The Nile Basin is home to more than 300 million people who depend on its waters for drinking, agriculture and industry. The river's annual flooding has historically provided fertile soil for farming, but modern challenges are putting this delicate balance at risk. But today, it's grappling with some serious environmental challenges. First up, water scarcity. Despite its length and historical abundance, the Nile's waters are being stretched thin. The region's population is growing rapidly, and with it, the demand for water. Agriculture, which consumes about 80% of the Nile's water, is expanding to feed the growing population. Climate change is exacerbating the problem, leading to more frequent and severe droughts. Farmers are struggling to irrigate their crops, and many are being forced to abandon their land. Despite the Nile being the world's longest river, population growth, agriculture and climate change are squeezing it dry. Urbanization is also playing a significant role. Cities along the Nile, such as Cairo and Khartoum, are expanding rapidly, putting additional pressure on the river's resources. The competition for water is leading to conflicts between different user groups, from farmers to city dwellers to industrialists. The situation is further complicated by the fact that the Nile flows through multiple countries, each with its own needs and priorities. Countries like Egypt and Sudan face big risks from upstream developments like Ethiopia's Grand Renaissance Dam. This massive hydroelectric project, which is nearing completion, has the potential to transform Ethiopia's economy by providing much-needed electricity. However, it also poses significant risks to downstream countries. Egypt, which relies on the Nile for about 90% of its water, fears that the dam will reduce the flow of water, affecting its agriculture and drinking water supply. Sudan, too, is concerned about the potential impacts on its own water resources. This dam promises hydroelectric power for Ethiopia, but could mean less water downstream. The situation is a classic example of the challenges of transboundary water management. Each country has its own interests and priorities, and finding a solution that satisfies everyone is a daunting task. The Nile Basin Initiative, a regional partnership that aims to promote cooperative management of the Nile's resources, has made some progress, but political tensions remain high. The stakes are enormous, and the outcome will have far-reaching implications for the region's future. Next, deforestation. Uganda and Tanzania are losing forests fast, leading to soil erosion and lost biodiversity. Forests play a crucial role in maintaining the health of the Nile Basin's ecosystems. They help regulate the water cycle, prevent soil erosion, and provide habitat for countless species. However, deforestation is occurring at an alarming rate, driven by the need for agricultural land, timber, and fuel wood. The loss of forests is leading to increased soil erosion, which in turn is reducing the fertility of the land and contributing to the sedimentation of the river. In Sudan and South Sudan, desertification is turning farmland into desert, jeopardizing food security. Desertification is a process by which fertile land becomes desert, typically as a result of drought, deforestation, or inappropriate agriculture. In the Nile Basin, desertification is being driven by a combination of climate change and human activities. The loss of vegetation cover is leading to the degradation of the soil, making it less able to retain water and support crops. This is having a devastating impact on local communities, who are finding it increasingly difficult to grow enough food to feed their families. Rising temperatures and erratic rainfall are messing with farming and ecosystems. Climate change is one of the biggest challenges facing the Nile Basin. The region is experiencing higher temperatures, more frequent and intense heat waves, and changes in rainfall patterns. These changes are having a profound impact on agriculture, which is highly dependent on the availability of water. Farmers are struggling to adapt to the new conditions, and many are seeing their crops fail. The changing climate is also affecting the region's ecosystems, leading to the loss of biodiversity and the degradation of natural habitats. Even Lake Victoria, the world's largest tropical lake, is shrinking, impacting local communities and wildlife. Lake Victoria is a vital resource for the millions of people who live around its shores. It provides water for drinking, agriculture and industry, and is home to a rich diversity of fish and other wildlife. However, the lake is shrinking due to a combination of factors, including climate change, over-extraction of water and pollution. The shrinking of the lake is having a devastating impact on local communities who are finding it increasingly difficult to access the water they need. It is also affecting the lake's ecosystems, leading to the loss of fish and other species. And don't forget pollution. Industrial waste, agricultural runoff and urban garbage are degrading the Nile's water quality. Pollution is a major problem in the Nile Basin, affecting both the river and its tributaries. Industrial activities such as mining and manufacturing are releasing harmful chemicals into the water. Agricultural runoff, which contains fertilizers and pesticides, is also contributing to the pollution. In addition, urban areas are generating large amounts of garbage, much of which ends up in the river. The pollution is having a serious impact on the health of the river's ecosystems and the people who depend on its waters. The Nile Delta in Egypt is heavily polluted, posing health risks and ecosystem threats. The Nile Delta is one of the most fertile and densely populated regions in Egypt. It is also one of the most polluted. The Delta is receiving large amounts of industrial waste, agricultural runoff and sewage, which are contaminating the water and soil. The pollution is posing serious health risks to the millions of people who live in the Delta, as well as to the region's ecosystems. The contamination is affecting the quality of the water, making it unsafe for drinking and irrigation. It is also harming the fish and other wildlife that live in the Delta. Biodiversity is also under siege. The Nile Basin is home to a rich diversity of species, many of which are found nowhere else in the world. However, this biodiversity is under threat from a variety of factors, including habitat destruction, overfishing, and climate change. The loss of forests, wetlands, and other natural habitats is leading to the decline of many species. Overfishing is depleting the populations of fish and other aquatic animals. Climate change is altering the conditions in which many species live, making it difficult for them to survive. The result is a loss of biodiversity, which is having a profound impact on the health of the region's ecosystems. Habitat destruction, overfishing and climate change are endangering species like the Nile crocodile and hippopotamus. The Nile crocodile and hippopotamus are two of the most iconic species in the Nile Basin. Both are facing significant threats from human activity. Habitat destruction is reducing the areas in which they can live and breed. Overfishing is depleting their food sources. Climate change is altering the conditions in which they live, making it more difficult for them to survive. The decline of these species is a sign of the broader challenges facing the region's biodiversity. Efforts like the Nile Basin Initiative aim to manage these resources sustainably, but political friction often gets in the way. The Nile Basin Initiative is a regional partnership that aims to promote cooperative management of the Nile's resources. It brings together the countries of the Nile Basin to work on issues such as water management, environmental protection, and sustainable development. However, political tensions between the countries often make it difficult to achieve meaningful progress. Each country has its own interests and priorities, and finding common ground is a constant challenge. The success of the initiative depends on the willingness of the countries to work together and make compromises. Reforestation and better water treatment are steps in the right direction, but cooperation is key. Reforestation projects are helping to restore the region's forests, which are crucial for maintaining the health of the Nile Basin's ecosystems. Water treatment facilities are improving the quality of the water, making it safer for drinking and irrigation. Community efforts are also playing a vital role in promoting sustainable resource management. However, these efforts need to be supported by strong cooperation between the countries of the Nile Basin. Only by working together can they address the complex challenges facing the region and ensure a sustainable future for all. The future of the Nile Basin hangs in the balance. The challenges facing the region are enormous, but so are the opportunities. The Nile Basin has the potential to be a model of sustainable development where people and nature can thrive together. Achieving this vision will require a concerted effort from all the countries of the region, as well as support from the international community. It will require innovative solutions, strong leadership, and a commitment to cooperation and collaboration. The future of the Nile Basin is in our hands, and the choices we make today will determine the fate of this vital region. Will its nations collaborate for a sustainable future? The answer to this question will depend on the willingness of the countries to put aside their differences and work together for the common good. It will require a recognition that the challenges facing the Nile Basin are interconnected and that solutions must be found through cooperation and collaboration. The future of the Nile Basin is not just a regional issue, it is a global one. The international community has a role to play in supporting the efforts of the countries of the Nile Basin and in promoting sustainable development in the region. Stay tuned for more insights from the Nile Times. The Nile Times is committed to providing in-depth coverage of the issues facing the Nile Basin. We will continue to bring you the latest news and analysis, as well as stories of hope and inspiration from the region. Stay with us as we explore the challenges and opportunities facing the Nile Basin and the efforts being made to ensure a sustainable future for all.